Britain and Mauritius are finalising a deal to transfer sovereignty over the Chagos Islands, a disputed UK territory that is home to a major US military base, the UK government said on Tuesday, April 1, 2025. Sovereignty over the Chagos archipelago is disputed between Mauritius and the United Kingdom. Mauritius has repeatedly claimed the Chagos archipelago as part of its territory and that the British claim is a violation of United Nations resolutions banning the dismemberment of colonial territories before independence. The UK government has stated that it has no doubt about its sovereignty over the Chagos, yet has also said that the Chagos will be given to Mauritius once the islands are no longer required for military purposes. Given the absence of any progress with the UK, Mauritius took up the matter at various legal and political forums. In the 22nd of June 2017, by a margin of 94 to 15 countries, the UN General Assembly asked the International Court of Justice, ICJ, to give an advisory opinion on the separation of the Chagos archipelago from Mauritius before the country's independence in the 1960s. In September 2018, the International Court of Justice began hearings on the case. 17 countries argued in favor of Mauritius. The UK and its allies argued that this matter should not be decided by the court but should be resolved through bilateral negotiations. On the 25th of February 2019, the judges of the International Court of Justice by 13 votes to 1 stated that the United Kingdom is under an obligation to bring to an end its administration of the Chagos archipelago as rapidly as possible. Only the American judge, Joan Donoghue, voted in favor of the UK. The president of the court, Abdelkawi Ahmed Yusuf, said the detachment of the Chagos archipelago in 1965 from Mauritius had not been based on a free and genuine expression of the people concerned. This continued administration constitutes a wrongful act, he said, adding, the UK has an obligation to bring to an end its administration of the Chagos archipelago as rapidly as possible and that all member states must cooperate with the United Nations to complete the decolonization of Mauritius. On 3 November 2022, it was announced that the United Kingdom and Mauritius had decided to begin negotiations on sovereignty over the British Indian Ocean Territory, taking into account the recent international legal proceedings. On 3 October 2024, the UK agreed to hand over the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, although this was controversial given the presence of a US military base on one of the islands on 1 April 2025, US. President Donald Trump approved the deal between the UK and Mauritius. The government signaled that President Donald Trump's administration, which was consulted on the deal, has given its approval and no further action is needed from the US. We are working with the Mauritian government to finalize and sign the treaty, said Tom Wells, a spokesman for Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Once signed, it will be laid before both houses of Parliament for scrutiny and for ratification. Britain and Mauritius have been negotiating a deal for the UK to hand over the Indian Ocean archipelago, which is home to a strategically important naval and bomber base on the largest of the islands, Diego Garcia. The UK would then lease back the base for at least 99 years. Trump indicated during a visit to Washington by Starmer in February that he would support the deal, saying, "I have a feeling it's going to work out very well." Britain split the islands away from Mauritius, a former British colony, in 1965, 3 years before Mauritius gained independence, and called the Chagos archipelago the British Indian Ocean Territory. In the 1960s and 1970s, Britain evicted up to 2,000 people from the islands so the US military could build the Diego Garcia base. Mauritius has long contested Britain's claim to the archipelago, and in recent years the United Nations and its top court have urged Britain to return the Chagos to Mauritius. Britain agreed to do so in a draft deal in October, but that has been delayed by a change of government in Mauritius and reported quarrels over how much the UK should pay for the lease of the Diego Garcia air base. The Chagos Islanders, many of whom relocated to Britain, say they were not consulted over the agreement. Under the draft deal, a resettlement fund would be created to help displaced islanders move back to the islands, apart from Diego Garcia. Details of any such measures remain unclear. Two Chagosian women are seeking to take the UK government to court over the issue. Bernadette Dugas and Bertrice Pomp, both British citizens, fear it will become even harder to go back to live where they were born once Mauritius takes control of the islands.